You've got to be in the final. It's a tournament in your own country.
I know, yeah, in their own country, and that's also a crucial point here. He'll want his strongest 11 to experience as much tournament football in their home country, which these players don't often get at international level.
Well, we talked about it. It's a transitional period for Brazil. There's not masses of experience in terms of tournament football, and he needs as much of that as they can get. The pressure. It was interesting after I did the England-Brazil game. The Brazilians were scathing, in their analysis of the Brazil team. First half said they didn't take it seriously, played too many long balls. I said to a couple, you should try it in English. But what they expect from their football teams is not just winning football, but amazing winning football, and that's what they've got to produce.
OK, we can talk football, but this tournament is, of course, being played against a backdrop of protests in Brazil that have grown in number and violence over the past week. Our South American football expert and journalist Tim Vickery has been discussing the protests with Jason Mohammed.
Yes, welcome to Salvador. This is the front page of the local newspaper A Tarde, which basically says the Brazilian president has announced reforms, yet we don't know whether there are going to be any further protests. So, Tim, do you think that those reforms will indeed deter the rioters?
You tell me. The word that I've most been hearing over these past few days is perplexed. No one saw this situation coming, and no one knows how it's going to play out. I think the fear is that after the president's words last night, the more peaceful elements will withdraw from the scene, leaving the field to the more violent ones.
Tim, this is FIFA's worst nightmare.
No doubt about it. A lot of heat on FIFA now. Romario, former great player, now a prominent politician, he's said that FIFA have effectively become the president of Brazil, that they've set up a state within a state, that they come here making all kinds of demands, they'll make a lot of profit from the World Cup, they won't pay any tax, they'll set up the circus, and then they'll leave and they'll go away. And you can understand the anger from the people, because back in 2007, Brazilian society was explicitly told that all of the money being spent on stadiums would be private money, leaving public money for improvements in infrastructure. That isn't the way it's worked out at all. Look behind us. We've got a lovely stadium, a beautiful stadium. So we've got first world stadiums and third world social services, and who wants that?
And lots of the international reporters that we've been speaking to are speculating as to whether the World Cup will in fact be played in Brazil. Do you think it will be moved?
Well, at the moment, obviously, FIFA coming out with a line of there is no plan B. It will happen in Brazil, and Dilma Rousseff, Brazil's president, very emphatic on this issue. But you're just starting to hear little whispers, and I think the plain fact is no one at this stage can guarantee anything.
Just a few metres away from the stadium as we drove in today, there are big banners which effectively say Fora Copa, Fora FIFA, which means get out Cup, get out FIFA.
Yes, a lot of heat on FIFA. This didn't start as an anti-FIFA protest, it's an anti-Brazilian state protest. But the inefficiency with which the 2014 World Cup has been organised, it makes it such an important rallying point for the protest movement. This weekend we've got 4 games in 4 different cities in the Confederations Cup. We'll see here if we've got violent demonstrations, and I think this weekend will define the immediate future of the protest movement.
Tim, thank you very much indeed. Lots of riot police outside the stadium here in Salvador, but a pretty relaxed atmosphere for now. Let's hope it stays that way.
Tim Vickery with Jason Mohammed. As Tim said there, it didn't start out as an anti-FIFA protest. It's all to do with the funding of public services. But should FIFA feel the heat, as Tim was saying there?
FIFA's behaviour for a few World Cups now has been inexcusable. Absolutely. They set up this kind of despotic micro-state within every state they go to. And even places with, I thought their behaviour in South Africa was an absolute joke. Don't pay any taxes. Don't allow the countries to make and maximise the money they get in from advertising, because they take most of the advertising as well. The deeper you go into it, the more offended you are by FIFA's way they behave when they go into these places. So let's hope it has an effect. I mean, and the protesters, in that they're going against FIFA in this one here, hopefully FIFA will react in a good way to this, and then the World Cup can go ahead okay.
In a statement at the Maracanã today, a FIFA spokesman said, we reassert our collaboration with the Brazilian government to deliver a safe and successful Confederations Cup and World Cup, which all football fans can enjoy. That's one thing. Do you agree with Pat that they lack some social responsibility when putting on a tournament?
They go in as a monopoly, and they take over everything. From sponsorship. You can't use certain credit cards in some places because it's all about the sponsorship. It's all about FIFA branding. They buy up all the hotels. They take all the spaces till the very, very last minute. And people simply cannot spend money there. I think on the other side of it, it's a little bit like South Africa. There's this big, it won't happen. it will happen. You know, the stadiums in South Africa, there was doubts over those right up until the very last minute. And the two countries aren't dissimilar. You know, you have a group of people that are very, very rich, a group that are very, very poor, and not a lot in the middle. Of course, it's the rich people that run the country.
To be absolutely fair about it, you say there are good things that FIFA do. You have to be fair about this up front. I mean, they do put a lot of money into sort of good areas and third world countries in football. But in this one area, I think they've got a lot to learn.
We'll keep our eye on the protests. There's yet no reports of any today. Now, depending on your generation, the mention of Brazil